Hello, it's Redux here, and welcome to episode 13 of our Let's Build series. So today we have got a pretty good episode in store. I know it's super late to be releasing one of these episodes. I'm actually recording this at 4 p.m. on Saturday, so I'm hoping I can get this episode out today. If not, it will be tomorrow. If it is out on the Sunday, then it's unlikely we're going to be at 2 episodes done this week. So I apologise in advance if that is the case. I've just been feeling a little bit under the weather this week, so I've been kind of taking it slow and just doing a few little bits off camera. So I'm going to quickly take you through those, and then we're going to get stuck right into the episode. So I think the first one that is super obvious is that I've done a little bit of work on this building here. I've just put a bit more detail in. So we've filled out the flower boxes, we've got purple stained glass in all the windows, we've got shutters on the windows, some of them are open, some of them are closed, but a bit of detail around the top ends of the windows here. You can see we've put a nice border with a kind of a funky design all going around the roofing. All at the different angles we've gone for. We've got some pillars here. I'm not sure if I'm going to use iron bars or end rods here. Initially I had iron bars, but I thought the end rods just kind of gives a cool little feature there. It's just a little bit of something different. So we'll stick with it for now, see how it goes. If you have any comments on how you think the end rods are looking, just let me know in the comments below. The only other thing that I've done on this build really is to bring this tower in by one, which I said that I would probably do in the last episode. I think this immediately shapes up a lot better than it was previously, and we've also changed out the blocks in this tower. I've actually I've switched over to terracotta there, which I actually think is really nice. I'm really happy with how that looks. I think we will have to have some builds that will be purely based on the terracotta variation, and some that are, the purple variation, and some that are more of this kind of pinky neutral tones. And I've just broken our build already. Okay, cool. So I'll just quickly fly you around. We've started doing a little bit of terraforming here. This is just to clean things up. If we do a cinematic and we fly through, this area was looking super messy, so I've just been tidying it up. The lapis just shows blocks that I've placed down. There's a bunch of blocks that have been taken away as well, but there's no way of highlighting this. Eventually this will be painted, so it'll be stone, dirt and grass. But for now I've just left it in lapis just so I can show you for like illustrative purposes. We just fly through our village here, which is looking super nice, and I've been doing a lot of work over here. I'm not sure when we're going to come back to this area, but this is something I definitely want to be working on. So I've just thought, let's just make this look a bit nicer. And you can see, again, I've taken away a lot of blocks, but I've also added a lot where you can see the lapises. And this has just been smoothed out a lot, and I've created a few plateaus that we can build on a little bit easier. It's hard in Minecraft to build with terrain, especially directly into the terrain sometimes. So if you are building your own stuff in survival, for example, just try clearing out a bigger area to work with. Leave yourself less variation in the height of the terrain. I think some variation is good, but sometimes, if you're finding it hard to build into terrain, just try and level out your area a little bit more. Give yourself a little bit more space to work with, because when you're adding details to a build, the bigger your build is, the easier it is to apply that detail. So just a small tip. It's not always applicable, but maybe just give it a go. And the only other thing, I haven't cleaned any of this up for now, because like I said, we'll be adding a few other bits around the area. But if we quickly, let's drop through here and just walk through this village a little bit, just remind myself how this looks. I'm really happy with it. I think some slabs are in need here, because who likes that kind of feeling, right? When you run into a block, it's never a good feeling. And I think that's enough of that. The only other thing I've done is I've actually been working on the terrain around here. So I've neatened this up a lot. All the stone was originally orange wool, and I've converted that to stone for the time being. Again, this all needs painting, but again, this is similar to how we're seeing the lapis over there. I was placing blocks down, and I've just begun painting them, but I haven't finished yet. And I've done kind of this coastline a little bit. You can see even underwater I've done a bit of smoothing, and I've started working on kind of this area a little bit. I don't think we'll do much out here, maybe like a little lighthouse or something, but but I just figured it would be cool to tidy this area up a little bit. So yeah, it's just something I've been working on for the time being. But that's enough of showing you what has been going on off camera. Let's just jump straight into the episode, guys. So what we're going to be working on today is this area. Surprise, surprise. And what we're actually going to be touching on today, or at least attempting to, and this is why I said the episode may come out on Sunday, because it might take me a little bit longer than I currently anticipate. We're going to be working on this mushroom. And one thing I didn't mention actually is I've made this mushroom a lot smaller. I was doing a few little tests in the test world in terms of how this mushroom is going to turn out, and I was finding that the mushroom cap was going to be way too big and the mushroom was going to be way too tall for the space we're after. So I've brought this in a little bit. We're going to give it a go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a time-lapse build and I'm going to show it to you guys. And even if it turns out horrendous, I'm still going to leave it in and then we're going to talk a little bit about it afterwards. But it might be something that I have to do 2, 3, 4, who knows how many iterations to get this right. It's been a long time since I've built anything organic on any sort of scale. Outside of terrain, which you can consider, I guess, a form of organic building because of the lines you're using, but that's a topic for another day, I guess, to get into that stuff. But yeah, we're going to be working on this with a quick time lapse. And one thing I did want to do as well is just shout out, I've been getting a few comments on videos recently. I had one about my audio levels being quiet, so I am actively working towards fixing that. So if you guys could let me know if today's video is actually sounding like the audio levels are kind of right and in place, let me know, and then I can sort of work on that. When it comes to editing, I can do the same sort of process, and hopefully going forward the audio levels are going to be just right for you guys. And I've also had one person in particular who's been following this series a lot, has been somebody I used to play Minecraft with back on a server called Shadecrest. Used to go by the name Simply Green, but on YouTube it's Trey Green. So just want to give you a quick shout out. I really appreciate you following the series. It's very kind of you, and you've obviously been putting a lot of comments down below as well, just showing your support, and that really does mean a lot to me. So thank you so much. But enough with all that nonsense, guys. Let's crack on with hopefully a cool time lapse. It may be a massive fail, but let's just crack on with it, and we'll see how it turns out. I was kind of 50-50 on how this was going to turn out, and I'm relatively happy with it. Is it the best thing I've ever done, or is it the best I could have done under the circumstances? Possibly not, but I'm happy enough with it where I think we're gonna stick with it and kind of keep rolling for now, because I want to keep the progress going on this series. I don't want to spend too much time on making sort of the perfect build. I'm happy with it. I think the size is pretty good. I think the proportions are a bit off potentially. I think the cap could be doing could do with being a little bit bigger, and also I think this still needs some addressing as well. I think that oh, I've got a bit of lag there, sorry, my PC's been really struggling these past few days. But I think this needs some smoothing and some rounding out as well, especially back here. I noticed in the edit that this is extraordinarily sort of the opposite of smooth. It looks like absurdly blocky and just not really kind of what we would be looking for in an organic build. You know, you usually want something that's a lot sort of smoother, but you know, that's fine. It's something we can gradually work on. I think the rounding this out and making it look less square, especially from sort of this angle, you know, it looks extraordinarily flat and kind of boring. And this angle is a little bit better because it's a bit thinner. But back here it's just very wide and flat. I don't know how to articulate it so much, but I think when you look at it from this angle, you can kind of see like it just, something's not adding up. It's not quite looking right. And I think also this stem needs to be going more up into here. It looks a bit odd with that sitting up there. It looks like the stalk should be going into that. There's a couple of other bits I need to do. I think I want to do some more smaller spots, which I'm just going to do with my sort of hand. I think one in this area would be good because this is too much of a red space here. Maybe a small one here at the bottom. Just have a fly around. Yeah, I think those are the only ones I'd really need to put in. But otherwise, I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, I would love to know what you guys think, whether you think it's actually kind of turned out well, whether it was what you expected or whatnot. Another thing to bear in mind is also another reason this looks so blocky is because I have just copied it, flipped it, and pasted it to the other side. Now, when it comes to organic building, I would not recommend doing this. When you do this, you definitely do lose out on some of the curvature of the build, and it does lose some of that character and organic flow to it as well. So I would definitely suggest, if you are going to do your own organics, not doing the copy and paste and flipping it over. I've just done it on this one occasion because, like I said, I'm short on time and I really want to make sure I get at least one episode out this week. Still currently recording this on Sunday. I've got my dinner in the oven at the moment. I need to go get that shortly. But yeah, I'm super happy with it. I think the only other thing I would need to do with it, I feel like I'm going around in circles here with these comments, but I would like to do some block variation in this. I do think I want to put sort of a doorway and maybe a few windows around. You know, some walkways will come out of it eventually to these various builds. You know, I want this to almost be like a central hub where they've built into this mushroom here. And I've got the blocks in my inventory, which I think I'm going to use to create my gradients. So we'll have bone block, mushroom stem, and diorite in the actual stem of the mushroom. I'll talk about the brown mushroom shortly. The red is going to go to a red wool sort of gradient around the white spots, and then you're going to go into smooth quartz, and the white concrete is going to be in the center of the spots, or maybe not the center, it might be off center. I need to decide where I'm thinking that the light should be coming from. And while we're here, let's quickly just go to the default time I've been using, 5:30 in the evening, to show off this build, because I think this is kind of twilight effect that we're looking for. So in terms of the brown mushroom blocks below this, what I'm actually thinking is when 1.16, well, I know it's out at the moment, but once all my plugins and mods have been updated for 1.16, we will be updating and passing through here once more to try and update it in line with some of the 1.16 changes, because I think it's going to be really good for this area and this build. But one thing I want to include is to put the shroom light under here and see how that looks. I think that could look super cool, and then that way, you know, I'm going to probably be spamming lanterns all over the place. But in this central area, we'd probably be able to take away all of the lanterns that I placed down and just have potentially, I don't know how much light it gives off, but we could potentially just be seeing this shroom light giving off light here. Same as over here, we could have the shroom light. I've just realised that this is here, so let's just quickly replace that, and I imagine it's the same over here. Yeah, because I used orange wool to mark the centre of those blocks. But yeah, that's kind of the current plan at the moment, and I'm super happy with how it turned out. I think one thing I'm going to do to hide the fact that it's been copy and pasted and flipped is, I think, other than putting in the windows and doors, I think I'm going to have some mushrooms kind of growing out of it, some smaller ones, kind of, you know, one coming out here, one coming out over here, like kind of leaning towards the buildings. And once those windows have been cut out and, you know, I've got those other mushrooms growing out of it, I think that's going to be really great for us. And they can be different colours, so I've got the main one following on with the same colours that we have in these mushroom blocks, but this one will carry this one will carry the same palette, but these other ones that are growing out of it, you know, these ones as well, these larger ones, and there'll be some dotted all around, may have some different variations in them. At least the bigger ones, the ones that are dotted around, are probably likely going to be sticking to this one, and we may well use some of this, and when it updates to 1.16, maybe we'll use shroom light as well. But you know what, guys, I think that's going to be it for this episode. I know it's not been the most action-packed episode, but I think it's been a pretty good one, and I think you can see that I've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes, and we're really getting towards getting to a point where this series is starting to kind of pick up momentum. I do apologise that it's kind of I mean, I'm apologising because this isn't really the standard that I want you guys to come to expect from me, but having said that, I do hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, leave a comment down below and please let me know what you think of the mushroom. Are you disappointed with me copy and pasting and flipping it over? I kind of am, but I am still happy with the result. So once again, thanks so much for watching episode 13 of my Let's Build series, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!
Soon.